The average salary is $135,000 a year. Folks, and the key is these jobs are manufacturing essential products, stamped made in America. Semiconductors are, though you all know, they're small computer chips that power virtually everything in everyday life, and they were originated here in the United States of America. We used to own not only the patent, but the technology and the production. Your phone, your car, your refrigerator, your washing machine, hospital equipment, the internet, the electric grid, and so much more depend on these chips. So this is going to create thousands of additional jobs, helping build more American products. For example, you know, inflation is a problem, which I'll speak to in a second. That's real. And a lot of people are being hurt by it. But guess what? 1/3 of the inflation in America is a consequence of the cost of automobiles. 1/3. You know why? Because of the shortage of semiconductors. They can't build them. And therefore, the ones that aren't being built cause the price of those that are being built to go much higher. This announcement helps fix that problem. 3 days ago, I called a meeting in the White House of CEOs from General Motors, Ford, Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, and others. Mary Barra, General Motors CEO, announced in the White House an initial $7 billion investment in Michigan to manufacture electric vehicles, creating 4,000 new quality jobs. That's on top of the announcement made by CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, last year, investing $11 billion in electric vehicles, creating 11,000 new jobs. And today, right here in Western Pennsylvania, the Union Pacific Railroad is announcing the largest purchase of American-made battery electric locomotives in all of history. And by the way, guess who's supplying those batteries? General Motors. Folks, I want to tell you, it matters. It matters a lot. The company who will build these locomotives is called Wabtec. W-A-B in their name is because they grew out of the old Westinghouse Air Brake Company, a classic Pittsburgh manufacturer. Wabtec is based here in Pittsburgh. And these locomotives will be built up in Erie at the same plant that Thomas Edison built at General Electric for General Electric more than a century ago. Not only will these locomotives be running here at home, powering our economy and decreasing pollution, Wabtec will also be exporting them to Canada, to Australia, and all around the world, again, creating more good-paying jobs. Folks, in the process, reducing climate change, generating jobs here in Western Pennsylvania. As I said, good-paying jobs you can raise a family on. My dad said that all you need, a family needs just a little bit of breathing room. A little bit of breathing room. And so many people don't have it now. But it also means something else. It means that right here in Pittsburgh, the future is being built on the foundation of this city's storied past. An announcement like this doesn't happen in a vacuum. The manufacturing resurgence we're seeing today is no accident. It takes local leaders, federal leaders, foundations, businesses, unions, universities, all pulling together. It requires a mindset like you have here in Mill 19. Here's what I mean by that. Generations ago, Mill 19 used to roll out 10-inch steel bars. Today it rolls out the latest innovation in advanced manufacturing robotics, 3D printing, and artificial intelligence. It's simply rolling out the future. That's what it's going to be doing. That success is a result of a partnership. The federal government provides funding from everything from basic research to great universities like Carnegie Mellon, to supporting partnerships that help small businesses in Western Pennsylvania get into the game in the first place, like the businesses here at Mill 19. Organizations like one called Catalyst. They work with small business to adapt to the latest technologies they need and grow and compete globally. The work is made possible by funding from the Commerce Department. And they partner with engineers and researchers from Carnegie Mellon University who design the next generation of advanced manufacturing equipment, creating technologies that work alongside workers instead of replacing the workers. In fact, Carnegie Mellon and the AFL-CIO are teaming up to make these technologies, make sure they're designed to support workers. Another organization here at Mill 19 called ARM Institute. ARM Institute is a public-private partnership funded in part by the federal government to help robotics technology move into the marketplace and to help train workers to build, operate, and repair robots so that working folks right here can take on good-paying jobs that companies like Wabtec are helping to create. And by the way, thanks to the American Rescue Plan, the first major bill we got passed in March, my Commerce Department is investing an additional $1 billion in local efforts to strengthen regional economies throughout the country. Some of that money is coming right here to Western Pennsylvania in support of efforts that include partners here at Mill 19, helping spread new robotics, artificial intelligence, manufacturing technologies, and create more jobs across the nation. Look, you all get it. The bottom line is this. It takes all of us working together, to get this done. And that's finally beginning to happen. When the federal government invests in innovation, it powers up the private sector to do what it does best, creating incredible new technologies, new industries, and most importantly, new jobs, good-paying jobs. These are the kinds of investments and partnerships that help us build a made-in-America future. We can't slow down now. We can't slow down now. We know what happens when we stop investing in the future of places like Pittsburgh. Decades ago, we used to invest 2% of our gross domestic product in research and development here in America. Let me emphasize that. Research and development. Today, we invest less than 1%. The United States of America used to be ranked #1 in the world in investing in the future. Now we rank #9 in research and development. China was #8 3 decades ago. Today it's #2. And other countries are catching up fast. But we can and we must change that trajectory. We have an opportunity ahead of us right now. The House and Senate, the United States Congress and the United States Senate are working out a bill that's going to provide an extra $90 billion for research and development, manufacturing all the elements of the supply chain needed to produce the end products. This should help create more partnerships like the ones you have right here at Mill 19. Secretary Raimondo, former governor of Rhode Island, she's been helping lead this effort. She knows what it takes. And my expectation is this will continue to be a bipartisan effort, God willing, just like the infrastructure law. And by the way, regarding the infrastructure law, we brought together Democrats and Republicans, being led by Senator Casey and Senator Lamb and other members of your delegation here, the Democrats, along with Republicans, to do something about infrastructure. Now, just 74 days after signing that law, we're already making tangible differences for highways, ports, airports, rail, high-speed internet, clean air, clean water. That includes $1.6 billion over the next 5 years for Pennsylvania to repair its bridges. As I said earlier, there are more than 3,300 bridges across Pennsylvania and over 7,500 miles of highway in poor condition. It also means jobs, replacing lead water pipes, so families in 10 million homes and in 400,000 schools and child care centers can drink clean water, not lead-based. Jobs. Jobs providing the labor and infrastructure, making high-speed internet affordable and available everywhere in America, cities, suburban, and rural areas, so that nobody's left behind. Nobody's left behind. You know, when you can pause for a second, if you think about it, how many times during the period when COVID was so bad, it's still not good, but we're getting there, When COVID was so bad and schools were closed, you'd ride by McDonald's and see a family sitting in the parking lot. So the kid could use his computer or her computer to be able to tie into the internet out of the McDonald's or any other fast food restaurant. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. What are we doing? What in God's name are we doing? We've announced major investment of $858 million to modernize the Montgomery Lock in northwest of Pittsburgh. So the water levels stay high enough for barges to pass through up the upper Ohio River. We move about $500 billion worth of goods through those locks like these across the country every single year. When they're not working, it creates choke points. Barges break up. Goods don't get to where they need to go. Bob Casey's been on my back about this for so long. As we get this Montgomery Lock project done, I think we should call it the Casey Lock. I mean, Bobby, I didn't know anybody in Scranton knew what the hell a lock was, you know what I mean? But all kidding aside, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I've also announced, after consulting with my friend Cecil Roberts, President of the United Mine Workers, a plan to cap and plug orphan gas wells and oil wells, spewing methane into the air. Over 100,000 of them. Clean up abandoned mines. I come from coal country, Scranton. Thousands of these wells help generate economic growth here in Pennsylvania. But now it's time to create good paying union jobs, capping those wells. They're abandoned. They get the same salary as those who dug them in the first place. Look, this law also delivers $7.5 billion to build a network of electric vehicle charging stations. A good friend of mine, Lonnie Stevenson, the president of the IBW, they're going to have a good time, man. Over 500,000 of these charging stations on our highways. And by the way, when you build these stations, what happens, just like when you build a gas station on a highway, other things grow up around it. You're going to see communities grow as a consequence, making us more globally competitive in the future of electric vehicles while helping fight climate change. And folks, here in Pennsylvania, you all know best the cost of inaction when it comes to climate. Extreme weather cost this state $10 billion over the last decade. $10 billion. You all remember last fall when Hurricane Ida made landfall, and he's running my operation now, and the former mayor of Louisiana, when it hit Louisiana. Winds hit 178 miles an hour. And guess what happened here? It flooded businesses in Oakdale and homes in Millvale. Nationally last year, extreme weather cost us $145 billion. That's what it costs the American public. And extreme weather is not going to ease up on its own. We have to be ready. That's why we're investing in our resilience, building roads higher when we rebuild them, our levees stronger, our power grids more durable so they don't get blown down and cause massive, massive, massive wildfires, to withstand the increasing ferocity of extreme weather. You know, I went all over the country last year visiting these sites, flying over vast, vast stretches of land in West, in Oregon, in Washington, in Idaho, looking down from that helicopter and seeing nothing but barren, barren land. You know, more timber, more housing, more businesses burned to the ground last year in the United States than the entire physical size of the state of New Jersey, from the New York state line down to the Delaware Bay. That's how much burned to the ground this last year. All of these investments in making it American, research and development, infrastructure, are really about one thing: empowering more cities and more towns to do what you're doing right here in Pittsburgh. transforming yourself. From being told you're a city without a future to becoming the city of the future. Think what your kids are going to have with this leadership you have in front of you here. 15 years from now, here in Pittsburgh. We're going to lead the world again. It's not hyperbole. It's a fact. Where, instead of shuttering factories along the Allegheny River, we're going to now talk about, not Steel World, we're going to talk about Robotics Row. 3-mile run with some of the world's most innovative businesses. A place where the future is being written, where families can have good paychecks, good homes. A future is a little bit of breathing room. The story we have kept writing here in Pittsburgh, you keep writing in communities all across the country, is the one you've begun. But we can't slow down, folks. We need to ease the burden on working families, making everything more affordable and accessible to hardworking people. That's what my Build Back Better plan is all about. That's why those major corporations came to the White House asking to see me to tell me they supported Build Back Better, even though it was going to increase their taxes. Going to increase their taxes. This plan will not cost the American people a single penny beyond. No one making less than $400,000 will pay a single additional penny in their taxes. And it reduces the deficit. And 14 Nobel laureates in economics wrote to me telling me that it would also diminish the impact of inflation. Take child care. How many families in this town can continue to afford to pay $14,000 per kid for child care? Well, the plan I have cuts that in half for most families, helping with their budgets, helping millions of parents, especially women, go back to work. How many of you know anybody who has type 1 diabetes? They need insulin. You know how much it costs to make that insulin? Less than $10. You know how much it costs on average nationwide for a monthly supply of insulin, which you needed every single month? $656, as high as $1,000. Imagine being the parent making the minimum wage or twice the minimum wage and having a child with type 1 diabetes, knowing that if you can't, and have no insurance, knowing if you cannot get that money for the insulin, your child may die. In addition to your child, it strips you of your dignity, damn it. Can you imagine looking at your child and you know what they need and not be able to do it? Many of you have lost children. Many of you have seen. Imagine. It's outrageous. And we have an answer. At the same time, same is true for home and community-based services for seniors and people with disabilities. Folks, look. What's the one thing, if you know, a lot of you are part of the so-called sandwich generation. You have a child that you need to get daycare so you can go out and work, as well as you got a mom or a dad who's elderly and living at home and they don't want to move out of their house. They don't have to sell every single thing they have to be able to move into a nursing home. But you know, the data shows 88,000 people qualify, 800,000 people qualify under Medicare to get that help, but it's not available. And sometimes it's as little as making sure there's someone there just to pick up the prescription, put a handrail in the shower, making sure someone can show up and help the meal. It's cheaper for everybody. It's a decent thing to do because the parents deserve to have a little bit of dignity. And it will not cause, it will not increase the deficit, and it will not cost anybody making less than $4,000, $400,000 bucks, a penny. I'm a capitalist. If you can make $1 billion, $1 million, go at it. It's good. at least pay a little bit. Fortune 500 companies. In Fortune 500 companies the last 2 years, there are 55 who made over $40 billion. Didn't pay a cent in taxes. I'm not talking about anybody paying any more than they did 10 years ago. Look, we know how to ease the pressure on families. We're increasing productivity and the potential for our economy. We can afford these investments by making sure the wealthiest just pay a little bit without increasing the deficit. As I said, no one earning less than, I guarantee you, check it out, no one earning less than 400 grand will ever pay another penny. And I told you about the impact of 17 Nobel laureates saying it's going to decrease inflation, not increase it. So here's the bottom line. The United States is in a position to outcompete the rest of the world once again. We're at a real inflection point. Technology, society's changing, and we've always been ahead of the curve. We have an incredible opportunity ahead of us. We still face tremendous challenges. But if we can keep coming together and invest in the backbone of this country, there's no limit to what we can achieve. So let's continue to give working families a fighting chance. Let's keep investing in the future of every city and town in this country. Let's face the challenges head on. Let's keep building a better America, because it's totally, completely within our power. I promise you. I promise you. It's about time we stop fighting. It's about time we start working together again. Thank you for your consideration for what we're talking about. We can do an awful lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Folks, a guy who's helping all those vets coming back is the head of the VA, Dennis McDonough. Dennis, raise your hand, pal. Let him know who you are. He's back anyway. We'll get him. We'll get him. But there's a lot going on, folks. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you.